O presidente do Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, surpreende o mundo ocidental com suas últimas declarações sobre as taxas de juros do Federal Reserve, a inflação e a recessão.
I've always thought that the soft landing was a plausible outcome, that there was a path, really, to a soft landing. I've thought that and I've said that since we lifted off. It's also possible that the path has narrowed and it's widened, apparently. Ultimately, this may be decided by factors that are outside our control.
A política do Federal Reserve permanecerá inalterada, com taxas entre 5,25% e 5,5%, com pelo menos mais um aumento na taxa esperado ainda este ano, possivelmente nenhum aumento no próximo ano, com expectativas de redução nas taxas. No entanto, o que preocupa são as declarações de Jerome Powell sobre uma iminente recessão e um pouso suave. O objetivo do Fed tem sido elevar as taxas para conter a inflação e alcançar o que é conhecido como pouso suave. Você se pergunta, o que é um pouso suave do Fed? Se o Fed aumentar as taxas de juros demais, pode causar uma recessão, conhecida como pouso duro. No entanto, se o Fed conseguir aumentar as taxas de juros apenas o suficiente para desacelerar a economia e reduzir a inflação sem causar uma recessão, terá alcançado o que é conhecido como pouso suave. Jerome Powell, presidente do Federal Reserve, agora diz que um pouso suave pode não ser um resultado plausível e pode estar fora de seu controle.
We will restore price stability. We know that we have to do that, and we know the public depends on us doing that, and we know that we have to do it so that we can achieve the kind of labor market that we all want to achieve, which is an extended period, sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. We know that. The fact that we've come this far lets us really proceed carefully, as I keep saying. So I think, that's the end we're trying to achieve. I wouldn't want to handicap the likelihood of it, though. It's not up to me.
Isso é típico desses caras. Dizem uma coisa e fazem outra. E simplesmente presumem que as pessoas vão esquecer. Porque eu me lembro quando Jerome Powell e outros altos funcionários do governo permitiram a impressão maciça de dinheiro no estímulo de 2020 e 2021. Eles nos enganaram e nos fizeram acreditar que a inflação seria apenas temporária. A inflação está fora de controle nos últimos anos, você sabe disso. Acho que enganar é uma boa palavra para descrever o que estou prestes a lembrar a você. Você se lembra quando eles repetiram isso para você?
I really doubt that we're going to see an inflationary cycle.
Most economic analysts believe that it will have a temporary or transitory impact.
The faster than expected increase in some of those prices is actually a good sign.
The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great,
This is something that will settle down.
Transitory.
And the data shows that most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary. There's nobody suggesting there's unchecked inflation on the way. It's highly unlikely that's going to be long-term inflation that's going to get out of hand. I don't know anybody who's worried about inflation.
Over the last couple of months, we actually saw it trended downward.
President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, enthusiastically retweeted an economist who had said in part most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, et cetera, are high-class problems.
What is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America?
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Well, the number one thing that the president can do is help get COVID under control. That we know is the root cause of inflation.
President Biden this afternoon saying he thinks we're at the peak of the crisis right now and that lower prices are on the way.
The inflation has everything to do with the supply chain. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home.
If you want to get rid of inflation, the only way to do it is to undo a lot of the Trump tax cuts.
Eles disseram que a inflação seria transitória, mas não foi. Depois, disseram que seria um pouso suave. Mas, neste momento, isso não parece provável que vá acontecer. O que vem a seguir, pessoal? Inscrevam-se no canal Ponto Crítico, onde mostramos o que realmente está acontecendo e mantemos você informado sobre o mercado de criptomoedas como nenhum outro canal faz. Certifique-se de se inscrever. Parece que um pouso suave é menos provável agora. Então, será que uma recessão está em nosso futuro? Quando exatamente essa recessão irá ocorrer? Gosto do que o analista-chefe de economia do Santander disse sobre isso. Ouça.
Inflation is probably going to stay pretty high, and so we've gotten good news, but it's not clear whether it's going to persist.
So in this environment, how long would you have to see a trend of less hot inflation, if not deflation, to sort of feel like, okay, we're on more solid footing here?
Yeah, so we have 2 months of good CPI numbers. I think if you get, 3 or 4, then you're starting to get to a point where you can say, okay, at a minimum, we can be very patient. Maybe we don't have to go, or we can just pause for a while and see what happens. But there's always the risk. Inflation may come down for a while and then reaccelerate, right? So you're always kind of hostage to the data.
How do you handicap recession risk, if at all?
I don't think we're going to see a recession in the near term, but I think 2024, there's a little bit more of a risk. I think we'll probably muddle through, but if we're going to get a recession, it's probably going to be next year.
That will be interesting in a political year, very much so, because it's very hard for an incumbent to run against a slowing economy.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're not thinking too much about that just yet, but that's going to be a big deal in 6 or 9 months.
Certifique-se de estar inscrito e de sintonizar sempre o nosso canal. Agora é a hora de levar a sério a sua educação em criptomoedas. Estamos em um mercado de baixa e é o momento de tomar decisões.